Good morning, everyone. My name is Gabriela Viña. It's my pleasure to welcome to all the attendees and special to all panelists who attend this International Forum and Expo for Academic Collaboration 2020. This forum is organized by the International Office of the University of Guanajuato. I think helping students develop international mobility is one of the most rewarding actions because we transform the academic life forever. Unfortunately, these actions on international are very affected by COVID-19. But today I have the privilege to share this forum, this panel in the International Collaborative Project with smart and proactive personalities who will share with their knowledge and experience. Especially, we'll start with Pierre Sved. Pierre Sved is a graduate of the University of Ottawa in Humanities. He has a master's degree in administration for the Instituto Tecnológico Autónomo de México. He has lived in Mexico since 1987. He worked for the government of the province of Quebec in immigration and at the Embassy of the Canada in Mexico. He served as a consular agent, press attaché, and for more than 20 years as a coordinator of international and academic affairs. He's actually working for the Lakehead University, Ontario. He has many interests that include all the aspects of the Canada-Mexico relationships, education, literature, philosophy, and history. Please, Pierre, you may start with your talk.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you on this Monday. It's a holiday in Canada and the U.S., so I'm glad Araceli was able to make it as well. I had prepared my notes in Spanish, so I'll translate as we go. I don't have a presentation because I figured with only 10 minutes, it wasn't worth it. But if you see that I'm switching into Spanish, sometimes I do it unconsciously. Maybe the moderator just tell me. But being the only Canadian on the panel, I think I'll speak a few points about the strategy of in Canada that are ongoing. I'll also speak about my university, Lakehead University, that's in Ontario, Canada. We have 2 campuses in Thunder Bay and in Aurelia. But first, I just want to send a message to the young people because it's how to engage youth in international projects. And I think that rather than sitting idly and waiting for someone to design a project, I think my message for the people would be to get together and organize discussion on the important themes on the international level. No? I think today we're too mixed up in cellular phones and social media, selfies. What Andrea Inglese, the poet from Italy and France, said is the ideology of self-promotion, permanent self-promotion, and it's very individual. I think we need to look more at a global level. And I think this pandemic has given us an opportunity and a responsibility to see how we can take conscience, criticize, and compare new and old ideas, and also to see how we can change the course. It's an opportunity to change courses, to use the new technologies and to try to be agents of changes. No? It's not always easy, and I think the most easy thing that will come out will be that everything goes back to normal and that we will continue as before. But I'm not sure if that's very sustainable in the long run. No? So I would tell the young people, take advantage of this. It's a window of opportunity, and get together, organize talks and tertulias, as we say in Spanish. I see a lot of themes and a lot of questions that have cropped up, especially for education. What is the future of education, higher education, in all its aspects? What about the health systems that we have, and what about the health of the planet? the rights for culture and access to culture, our economic system, and also the way we treat the most vulnerable sectors of our society. For those Mexicans that are listening, I would recommend you also read the Constitution, because there's a lot of ideas that are in that Constitution, but sometimes we forget, so it's always good to be reminded. As I mentioned, I'm the only panelist from Canada, so I'd like to say a few words on the education system in Canada, and then I'll speak on some of the projects for internationalization and trying to get students involved in some of our projects at Lakehead University. We're a mid-sized university in Canada. The education is a responsibility of the federal government, so we're a public university from the province of Ontario. Most universities in Canada are public universities, over 90%, but they're all respond to the provincial government. And our higher education system consists of universities, which is the same as in the US and in Mexico. We also have the colleges and institutes. It's a bit like community college, say, in the United States. Of course, the federal government, the government of Canada, has many programs. It finances a lot of programs. They're very active in Mexico. I saw that Veronica Soto, the consul in Guadalajara, is taking her day off to be there and listen to us. Hopefully, she'll have some questions for us as well. And we also have very big national associations that promote internationalization at a national level, such as University Association Universities Canada, Colleges and Institute Canada. There's the Canadian Bureau for International Education. We have MITACs. We have Languages Canada as well. And I'm sure I'm leaving a lot behind. All of them usually manage funds and administer programs, normally from the federal government, although it could be also from other sources. I'd like to give you an example. For example, Universities Canada and Colleges and Institutes are administering right now a program from the Canadian government, a pilot program to fund mobility of Canadian students, especially those that are most underrepresented groups of Canadians, such as Indigenous people, or socioeconomic disadvantaged people. And as many of you may know, in Canada, at the universities and higher education level, very few students participate in mobility programs. It's estimated from the reports that I've read, about 3%, between 3 and 5% of Canadian students during their career as students will go and participate in a mobility program, and usually it's in a country, just similar to Canada, like for example, United States, Australia, Europe. So this new program from Universities Canada is a 5-year, $85 million mobility project based on projects that the university will present for short term, because we've seen that students are more likely to go outside of Canada when it's for short term rather than long term, and that's for a series of reasons that I'll explain a bit later. And it's for underrepresented students, and also we're trying to diversify the destination countries. More in Asia, more in Africa, more in Latin America. Of course, COVID has put a little bit of that program on halt, but it's still going on. So keep tuned and see what's going to happen. Us at Lakehead University, we're one of the top universities in Canada for Indigenous students. We're in Northern Ontario, and we have between 13 and 15% of our student populations identify themselves as Indigenous. So I am sure that we will participate in one of those projects through our Indigenous Studies program. I just want to mention also Secretaría de Relaciones Exteriores in 2018 also funded Indigenous students to come to Mexico, and we participated in that program, and it was very, very successful. We had 6 Indigenous women from Lakehead that participated on a trip to Puebla, to a Totonaco community, and it was really an eye-opener and life-changing event for them, even though it only lasted 6 days. So I'd invite and encourage SRE to continue with these programs that are very, very good. At Lakehead University, I'll speak quickly on some of the programs we have. Of course, we only have about 50 outgoing students every year. Those are students from Lakehead University that will go abroad on an exchange program, and we have about 80 students coming in. So that's a very small number, especially if you compare it to, let's say, the Tech de Monterrey that have mobility programs in normal circumstances over 12,000 students, no? But as I said, we're a smaller university, a mid-sized university in Canada. Nevertheless, we do have 1,700 students from abroad coming from over 70 countries, and they contribute to the internationalization of our program. That's about 15% of our population, student population. The most popular destinations for our Canadian students going abroad, it's funny, but we have a consortium with the Arctic Circle. So they go in Norway, they go to Korea on these programs, and usually it's in the biology field, and it's also for a short term. We also have with Australia, United Kingdom, Singapore, and the US, the National Students Exchange Program. One particular successful program was our program with Charles Darwin University in Australia called Connecting Indigenous Cultures. Most of these programs are on hold, but a lot of people have participated and will continue to participate in some of the events online until we open up again and this pandemic is behind us. We're the first Canadian university to participate in the e-movies program from the Inter-American Organization for Higher Education. University of Guanajuato is a leader in that program, and we're very proud. I mean, we only offered about 5 courses open to 10 students in business and in environment, because we're very strong in both these fields, and we're very pleased to report that we've had some students from Latin America participate in this virtual mobility program. So I'm sure someone else during the conference will speak about e-movies. I see David Julien's on the conference, but we're very proud to be the first Canadian university on e-movies. So some of the challenges that we've had trying to get students abroad in countries like out of the beaten path, like in Latin America, there's a little bit of hesitancy on the parts of students. Of course, they have financial consideration. In Canada, the culture is, parents expect students to finance their education, and the government as well. So you'll have students that have loans, students that have apartments, and going on an academic exchange would only increase their costs, because they usually have to pay back their loans, they have to pay their apartment while they're not there, and a lot are very afraid that it will delay their graduation as well. And of course, we face additional barriers like language barriers, and especially in Africa and Latin America lately, there's security issues. So one last point I'll speak about, because I'm going over time, is our Lakehead University's Global Certificate. internacionalización sin salir de la casa. So we organize several activities that we want students to get involved, such as volunteering, working at the International Center at Lakehead, but also in the community. They can use their imagination. They can host events or organize events for the international community at Lakehead, and they will get a certificate if they put in a certain number of hours. There's no credit yet for that, but it goes on to their co-curricular record, and that will help them get in a job, and especially have an undergraduate degree with this global certificate. And our goal is to have all our students get that certificate. So I'll end it here, and looking forward to discuss with my colleagues.
Thank you very much, Pierre. I think we'll come with you next to make some questions about your interesting talk. Next, we'll pass with la doctora Teresa Hernández. She's presenting something about nursing on the project in this interesting topic. Teresa Hernández is director of the Nursing and Obstetrics Department, Campus Guanajuato, trained at the University of Guanajuato, Bachelor of Nursing and Obstetrics. She has a master's degree and doctorate degree in medical science of the University of Guanajuato. She's a full-time professor and researcher in the University of Guanajuato. He works for the University of Guanajuato mainly as a teacher and in various areas of academic administration. From 2012 up to now, she's director of the Department of the Nursing and Obstetrics in the University of Guanajuato, Campus Guanajuato. Doctora Teresa, you may start your talk, please.
Thank you, Gabriel. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Let me start. Our program is an undergraduate nursing students change and a learning practice program that we run during the visit of the students in the place. So let me start. I don't know how I move my presentation. Let me see here. Okay. So our program was starts with this characteristic of Guanajuato and Ashland that we are sister cities. So we knew through the visit that the Southern Oregon University faculty came to Guanajuato in 2011. So we meet some nurses from the Oregon Health and Science Nursing School, and we started a friendship relation, and we think in this we started doing this exchange. So this exchange for now, and now it's in his 5th year of existence. But well, we couldn't do it this year because of the pandemic situation, but it's working, and the students expect every year the convocatory for the change. What we do? Okay. Initially, we wanted to implement this annual nursing students exchange, short-term exchange, and we start with right now it's the same. Selecting 8 students from each school, accompanied by a faculty member to participate in the exchange, and the idea was to provide to the students opportunities to participate in community assessment in the health community. So here in Mexico, they came to suburban communities. We have gone to Puentecillas and to La Sauceda and other places. So and in Ashland, we went to primarily to schools and hospices to work with the people. So what what was the key steps we developed? First is to get the interinstitutional agreements, no, between both of the universities prior to travel. It was important for us because it was the first time we worked with groups, no, and for the first one we had a grant, and it was necessary to have every issues covered. And after all this, our students make a application, no, for the selection, and we plan, no, life plan that includes the itinerary for the seminar receiving students, who will house the faculty and the students, and the many activities that they have to go to work, no, during the day, and work on the project with the local community. And also very important is to plan the budget, no, to determine anticipated cost for traveling for students, because most of the travel expenses are covered by the students. The university supports the faculty travel expenses and some help for expenses for students and faculty, but it's not hi, perdón, my English is terrible. It's not un gasto fijo, perdón, sorry. On site, no, study program before, during, and the exchange, this period host and visiting faculty is also planned. No, that is important because with this program we work all the 3 weeks, and almost all the time we cover it very well. Sometimes we have some problems, so we have to change and be flexible, no, in our plans. And also we have we gave the opportunities for the visiting students to report results back to the host community and to their home university. So they report their work. No? This is the academic part that's very important because they came. This change is part of their academic program. So they get an evaluation about it. Okay. The selection of the students and the faculty, that's a part of the planning. No? It's based on their interest and experience in global health of faculty, and the availability they have, no? Because many of the faculty have another courses to attend or compromises that they have to attend. So, and they have to give these 3 weeks to work with the students in the place. Okay? And the students made a formal application with a personal statement, and with this application, they are informed of the academic, economic, and professional commitments that they have participation in the exchange implies. No? So they have to host the other students. They have to plan with the faculty the activities of academic and leisure activities for the visiting group, and etc. So they are involved in the planning. This is important, and I think it's part of the success of this exchange. No, the candidates are reviewed and selected who are not in risk, they are clinically well, or don't have professional issues, but also who will gain the most experience. But it's not necessary to have previous international experience or language fluency. It's not required. So in the groups we have this cohort with mixed students because many of our students, well, mostly in Mexico, but in United States, same, don't have the fluency of Spanish or English in our case, and they still can go. No, it's a challenge for them, but they face it with very enthusiastic, and it's part of the experience. So this is not a limitation for the students to have this language fluency to be included in this change. So in planning, we define all the structures, no, and the agreements between the schools. We create the calendar, no. Every day the calendar has their activity planned, and we in each community we work, no, or identifying the community sites for the assessment, and assessment achievable within the time frame because 3 weeks is a very short time. So in the first 2-3 days, they make an assessment of the community and plan very specific activities to work in the community. And the next week, and in 1 or 2 days of the third week, and then last Friday, and last Friday or Thursday before they end the visit, they have the opportunity to present the results. They make the report. So we had within this change, these learning goals, you know, that is awareness of community as a client, and the very different context that we have in our countries in the communities. See? How it works with the social determinants of health are very different in different countries, but there are in them the impact of policy of community health, how these policies works and impact people. This the public health ethics, including social justice, how it's very different, and how we are immersed in this kind of problems. And it's important that by this program, they sorry if I see.
There is 30 minutes left.
Okay, thank you. Okay. And they understand nursing like in an international context, and the leading role that nursing can play. Okay. I will do this. I really talk about this very quickly. No, they are assessment. They make assessment in the community. Yeah, and it depends the community we went, but the topic that we have explored to date, gender, mental health, adolescent health issues, parental education, elderly care, So we try to take to students a very rich experience. So also we visit all the health institutions, hospitals, delivery houses, and things that can help them in the formation. So for them, these are the aspects that we think is why this change is so successful. The similarities at the programs, but we don't have to match them. We work with what we have. Each school is responsible for the academic performance and evaluation of its students. we have a very committed and faculty, no? That is want to take the challenge to develop their programs, their courses in another context. This reciprocity of the program, no? With the students and the host and the faculty, and I think it's important that the language fluency is not required, and also it's important that to plan, but to have flexibility, no? And during the exchange, and it this program has come a very self-sustainable project. So it will we will work with it. Mientras while we can afford them with the students and the faculty.
Sorry, Teresita, your time is over.
Okay, I finished. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Our next talk is by Thierry Villard. She's a language teacher, mobility officer, and head of studies at the UGIT de Bordeaux at the Université de Bordeaux, France. As a language teacher, Thierry has always been involved in European projects. Since he started his work at the Institute of Technology of Bordeaux, he has focused on internationalization of the curricula. Since the creation of the Pole Lang in 2017, as a strong gathering language and communication teachers, he has also been involved in the development of the language policy, a huge and exciting task. Thierry holds a master's degree in English from the University of Bordeaux-Montaigne, and he's an associate in the European Association for International Education. Thierry, bonjour. On vous remercie votre participation dans cette forum. You may continue with your presentation, Thierry. Your micro is not open, Thierry.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour depuis Bordeaux. I'm very pleased to be here this morning or this afternoon in my case. So, as you said, for the last 10 years as a language teacher at the Institute of Technology, I have tried to develop many international collaborative projects. It's something which I find very interesting for many students and for teachers. But first, so I'm trying to, I don't know how to do this like this, probably, yes. So I'll teachers to set up this type of I'll introduce one of them in particular, which is the Leon project, Leon in northern Spain. First, I am a member of the Université de Bordeaux, but I work at the Institute of Technology, which is part of this huge university, which gathers about 50,000 students. Whereas the institute, as you can see on this slide, is much smaller. It's about 4,000 students, and we cover all the disciplines from journalism to science. I teach English at the Applied Physics and Measurement department. This department, more than 10 years ago now, introduced a new concept, which in those days was new, was to teach science in English to first and second year students after the French Leaving Certificate, high school certificate, which is the baccalaureate. So in those days when it was created, we were sort of pioneers, and we are teaching, we are preparing students, technical students, to face future challenges. Now here on this map, as you can see, we have many European contacts, and we are trying now to go over the Atlantic Ocean or wherever we can to expand our partners. So now, as I said, I'm going to say a few things about the Bordeaux-Léon project. France and Spain working together on a very precise subject. which is creating an eco-friendly automated watering system. Now, there are the students working together are very different. Since here at the Institute, we have very young ones, which is semester 3 students. And in Spain, they are much older. They sometimes are semester 5 or even semester 6 students. We are a mix of different teaching staff. I'm not a scientist. I'm a language teacher working in a science department, whereas on the other side, in Spain, my colleague, Maria Hernández, is a science teacher. So it is a very good combination, which shows students that, in fact, language and science can be working together on the same project. So this is this watering system, in fact, is a very, or let's say the environment here now in southern France is a very important topic, since every year we get less and less rain, and this has become problematic in Spain already. And now, I mean, all the students are very concerned by this topic. So these projects, how are they organized? They are compulsory projects for second-year students. They run from October to March. And as I said, teachers combine, it's a combination of specialists and non-specialists. And there are 4 evaluations. It's compulsory. The students have to write 2 reports. They have to communicate on their work, and to do so, they write articles. They organize their thoughts in a poster. They do oral presentations, and this for all this they get 5 ECTS credits. So why should we teachers and institutions encourage to set up this project? There are many reasons, and I will try to cover 3 points: academic reasons, for professional reasons, and personal benefits or reasons. So the benefits for students, well, they're numerous. We know that the world market is changing. It's become global, and we have to make sure that our students can adapt and work with international partners. So the students, for them, the benefits, they develop IT competencies, they improve their scientific skills, which is very interesting. They improve their soft skills and intercultural competence, for example, language skills, which is a key issue. Sometimes people laugh at the French when they speak English, because we are, I mean, in France, people say that our level of English is not good enough. So we need to work on this and to change mindsets. The students learn how to cooperate with others as a team. And this is very interesting. Sometimes it's difficult. You've got to remember that the students are young. It is difficult among themselves in France. So when you think that they have to manage a timetable with their Spanish counterparts, this is going to be very helpful for their future professional life. So the students, after doing this for a couple of years now, they really appreciate these projects because they discover a new culture. France and Spain, we may be neighbor countries, but we are very different. So for them, it is very interesting. Sometimes they want to continue, they want to go deeper, they want to meet these people. You have to remember that all this is made online, and COVID has not changed anything for us. They started to work distance, and they continued, and they presented a distance. The students realize how important it is to speak English or to speak a foreign language, because sometimes they speak Spanish. So for the students, many benefits. Now for teachers, well, of course, for the teachers, it is our duty now to prepare them for a better employability. And with this, we are trying to bridge this gap. This is just the beginning. also to open our students to new horizons, which is essential. Living in the south of France is very cool. This is what they say. They don't want to travel much. So it is our responsibility, our duty to open them to different cultures and countries. So it's also for us a way to show that there are many different teaching methods, learning methods, and you can learn from others, whoever they are, and this is something very important. Now, the benefits for institutions, I mean, COVID-19 has changed everything. I mean, we were, just before March, I was planning to travel to Spain and to other European destinations. So these type of programs, projects are a way for us to maintain links with our partners. Since, I mean, there haven't been any travels here. It is also to foster a new cooperation without the fear of the distance, because sometimes, I mean, there are teachers, colleagues who are interested in these projects, but they don't have funding for travels. And with this online projects, I mean, we can work together despite the distance, despite different time zones. And of course, it is a possibility to internationalize at home, which is a key issue now in many French universities, but in many European universities. I've been doing this for 10 years. We first started with Germany, which is a blended project with Germany. Originally, we started moving students, which is a bit difficult money-wise. Then I continued with Spain, and last year I was lucky enough to be to start a project with Tokyo University. And Tokyo University was a great experience for the students. Many French students are fascinated by Japanese culture, and it was a way for us to open them to Asia. We also started a project with the US, with Dallas, and as you can see, the title is Ethics and Technology, so another aspect. And I'm very open as a language teacher. I work in a very dynamic department, and we are willing to open ourselves. I'm in charge of placing students abroad. We had an experience in Mexico 2 years ago, and if anyone among the attendees want to start this type of project, well, feel free to contact me. This is a very enriching experience, both for students and both for us teachers. And that's me done.
Thank you very much, Thierry. Your project is very interesting. Probably we'll talk later about them.
Thank you.
Our next talk is Araceli, Araceli Partearroyo. She has increased the change of the students between USA and Mexico. She's working in the coordination of the Fondo Bilateral México-Estados Unidos sobre Educación Superior, Innovación e Investigación. This project is working instead of the Fulbright Garcia Robles. Today he's working in Fuerza 100,000 in Las Americas to increase student exchange. He's always looking for budget to obtain a scholarship for our students. So, Araceli, you may start your talk, please.
Yes, good morning, everyone, and thank you very much to the University of Guanajuato for giving me this opportunity to talk a little bit about what we have been doing. I think I also have a presentation that I think should be going on screen pretty soon. And well, first of all, I'd like to say that I have been privileged to been working with Guanajuato for many, many years. So I have been able to witness the efforts that the institution has done to improve the participation of its students. And I would want to say that the students should be very fortunate to have an office that is fully equipped, staffed, and trained to provide you with all the information you need, and that has been working diligently to increase its programs. I was glad to hear the previous presenter, the faculty member that talked about their nursing program with Oregon State University, because I know it's one of the programs that has been in existence for a long, long period, and we were glad to be able to support some of the activities that took place last year in celebration of their 50th anniversary. So let me see. Can you take care of the presentation at your end, Daniela, or somebody else?
I think it's already displayed.
Okay. I'm not seeing it in.
Okay, just a few. Let me see.
I don't see it in my screen, so I'm not sure what you're displaying. But anyways, I'll just keep on talking. What they mentioned during my introduction is that we have been working in an unprecedented effort between the U.S. and Mexico over the past 6 years, 7 now, on the Bilateral Forum on Higher Education, Innovation, and Research that has really brought our academic communities together and to a closer collaboration, which I think was a wake-up call mostly for U.S. institutions to focus on what their Mexican counterparts can offer. I think they don't know quite well that our institutions are top of the line, that there's very good programs that their students can attend. So I think this was one of the most important contributions that we achieved through FOBESI, which is the Spanish acronym for this initiative, which, by the way, continues. We continue to support, as well as the Mexican government. Our very good partners at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs continue to work with us diligently on this. So we continue, more than addressing our programs and explaining what we do and the requirements, I would like to address how we have been able and working to achieve, to face the challenges that we are now facing. So let me see, I cannot advance it, but I don't know, something's, can you maybe move it forward at your end?
I think I just have this slide with your personal information. Maybe if you want to share it again.
No. Well, let's just continue. I thought that the whole presentation had gone through because this is the first slide, but then there's others, but I can't be. I don't seem to be able to advance it. So let me see if that works. Nope. Okay, there we go.
You're in now.
Sorry. Okay, what I'd like to mention first is just mention it is a big mission. The U.S. Embassy is of course sits in Mexico City, but then we have 9 consulates throughout Mexico, plus 9 consular agencies where there is important U.S. Communities, U.S. Citizen communities. And the mission employs close to 2,500 employees, and 29 government agencies work diligently towards the bilateral relationships, the issues of concerns, and where we can work together in the bilateral relationship. So it is indeed a big mission, and we're all very specialized in different things. And I am fortunate enough to work for the public affairs section of the embassy, which is mostly the one that does a lot of the missions outreach programs. Okay, what I'd like to mention very briefly is the programs that we generally do and that we hope to reinstate in the next year, in 2021, if conditions permit. We have a program called the SUSI, because it stands for the Study of the U.S. Institute, where we send faculty and underserved students, meaning indigenous and Afro-Mexican female students. These are short summer programs, but they do have a big impact. And of course, we were forced we had selected the people already for this year's programs, but we had to cancel them, of course, because they were not able to travel. We have a research summer program with the University of Texas at Dallas that is also on its 6th year of implementation. Then we have a community identity and leadership program at the University of New Mexico, a governance, security, and biodiversity program, which is a very peculiar program because it's administered by 2 former Fulbright grantees, and both at ITAM and at the other end at Stanford University. And it's peculiar because the students get to travel with 2 very different profiles of students that they would not otherwise have had the opportunity to participate. So it's been also very successful. It will be on its 5th year of implementation. So we hope that program will also be reinstated next year. And then we do a program with the University of the Americas in Puebla, This is also for Indigenous students. It's a leadership program where also the students get to interact very closely with the regular students there. So there's some very interesting conversations taking place. In this program, we have had Canadians, also Native Canadians, participate in this program. We are trying to continue it and making it trilateral, especially because of what binds us together. You know, with the renewal of the MEC, which is easier to say than in the English acronym. And then last year, we started an English program for engineering students, which we wanted to replicate again this year. But what we were able to see is that these programs for the students go for specific content yield very good results because the students become very interested. It's very focused on their field. The students have to have some level because we're not teaching them English from the start of what we want to improve their language skills in their fields of expertise. And we are very pleased to see, because we do try to follow up very closely with our students, that some of these students have reported that because of this experience, they were able to secure better jobs because most of them were about to graduate. It was targeted to students that were in their final or close to final semesters, because we didn't want to measure the impact when they were applying, and others felt motivated to continue to pursue doctoral studies. So it yielded very good results. We have another program also where the University of Guanajuato high school students have also participated, which is called Jóvenes en Acción, which is one of our flagship programs addressed to students in this age range. And that we had to modify also this year. We started, usually the program starts with students going to the U.S. For a semester, for a month. It's only a month, and then return to Mexico to implement their projects. So this year they started the other way around. They started their projects first, and then they will be able to travel next year if condition permits to the U.S. And then we also have a U.S. Studies seminar at the University of San Diego, at the U.S.-Mexico Study Center, that's focused on government officers that need to understand the U.S. better and get a better grip of the U.S.-Mexico relations. So these are our traditional programs that are administered through my office. We work very closely also with the U.S.-Mexico Commission for Educational and Cultural Exchange, popularly known as COMEXUS, where they administer all of the scholarships the Mexican and U.S. government sponsor for graduate study in the U.S. So this is something you need to be very aware of. This is very especially for the students that are about to graduate, but please start your process early. You will be hearing more of this on Wednesday presentation by Education USA, which is your first stop, the first stop you need to do if you're contemplating studying in the U.S. And you do have to start planning, I'd say at least 2 years in advance, and start working on your English now, I mean today, because it's very important. It continues to be one of the most barriers, one of the strongest barriers in addition to financial need. But I've been in this for many, many years, close to 4 decades, and English since I came into this field has been a barrier, and it still continues to be a barrier. So there's something that we need to possibly improve in terms of language teaching in Mexico. As my French counterpart, as they mentioned, it is also a challenge, not only in France, but in Mexico as well. Okay, then I'd like to mention what we were able. I'd like to address some of the things that this experience that we are going through taught us. We did manage to do a virtual meeting of our alumni. This is meaning the Indigenous students that have participated in our program at the University of the Americas in Puebla. We brought together for the first time the 6 universities that receive both U.S. and Mexican that receive our Indigenous students and Afro students in a week-long seminar, which was very interesting because it's the first time that we brought the universities together. And the first time that we brought the students also. We had done individual things with each program to follow up, because I do consider, and also mentioning what Francisco Marmolejo mentioned this morning, the importance of measuring the impact of what we're doing. What are we really achieving? Not only when the students return immediately, because there are medium and long-term impacts that we can measure if we really follow up. But it is a titanic job. It's very difficult. I guess we're able to do it because we have relatively numbers that can still control. But I would find it very difficult, like for the foreign ministry, to follow up on the thousands of students that they supported with the their Proyecta 100,000 initiative. But it is valuable. We do have evaluations that clearly reflect that our students continue to be very appreciative of the experience that they have and how much this and has enabled them to pursue other goals. So this I want to highlight to the university. I hope the university also, not only Guanajuato, but other universities do have a very close follow-up program, systems in place to evaluate their students, which is difficult because I think once the students leave the university, they graduate and they apply for a master's degree, sometimes they do it on their own and they do not necessarily go through the Office of International Programs. But maybe you can do, or there is a way to keep track of them, and I think that's where the beauty of this relies, because we have been able to document things that had happened 10 years ago that still bear an impact on our students. Okay, the other thing we were able to do this summer to take advantage of the resources we had was doing an 8 sessions focused on different issues that impacted the bilateral relationship. This was done also virtually. These were all virtual programs with the University of the Americas. And the number one positive thing that we've been able to witness is the number of people that we have been able to reach. For example, this program, we were expecting a participation of 200 people. We had over 400. So that is definitely a plus. Then also the U.S. Study Seminar that I just referenced a while ago at the University of California, San Diego, which is still ongoing. It finalizes this weekend. Also, last year it was done in presence. People traveled to the university, and of course it's great to be in San Diego, but we had 32, and this year we have close to 100 participants. So then you see the multiplier effect doing these things virtually is indeed there, and we have to take advantage of that too. And then we have the Ambassador Christopher Landau has been very fortunate to be able to reach out a number of students, through this virtual presentations that he has done. He has been very gracious and basically has accepted all the invitations that he has received, both from Mexican and U.S. universities, to convey his points of view of where the bilateral relationship is. So that has also has enabled us to be able to engage him with good as the audience out there. So that's also been a very huge positive impact. Okay, what we have learned from this process is, okay, of course, I think this is something that all my counterparts will share. We've learned of resilience, tolerance, adaptability, creativity, and willingness to continue collaborating. As I mentioned, we have had very good responses from our partners, everybody trying to adapt, everybody trying to make things work, and it's been very gratifying to see that everybody was there to give the extra mile. We, of course, I mentioned already, increased outreach and participations, new ways to collaborate. We had to find out what we could do, what was possible, and how to go about it. Of course, improved use of the technology. We've been using all these platforms, the Zoom, the WebEx, the whatever, and it does have its challenges. Just this morning, we had some, being able to connect. But finally, with the appropriate guidance, like the one the university provided, was a big help. And then something also very new is that we can work from home. We can make things happen. And I am definitely convinced that the future of international education will undergo a major change based on this experience. We probably will go into hybrid modalities where the programs might continue in person, but a lot will definitely be done virtually. And something I'd like to refer to, as Francisco Marmolejo also mentioned it this morning, is the new project we're initiating next year. We're initiating this academic year, and we're announcing tomorrow. It's an initiative with the Mexican Association for International Education, of which, and the University of Guanajuato is already participating in COIL courses, particularly the Division of Administration and Economics. And we hope to see more professors participating in joint and team teaching with U.S. partners in the U.S. It's a very ambitious initiative, but it comes very handy given what we are currently undergoing. So we will be launching it tomorrow. Our expectation is to have at least 40 courses per semester for a total of 160 courses between U.S. and Mexican institutions over a course of 2 years. It's a project aimed for 2 years, and with the expectations that the university will continue it on its own. As we have seen, COIL courses also being developed between Mexican universities in Latin America and even Europe. So I think this is the way to go. I think that this is the way to engage students that would not, even under normal traveling conditions, would not have the resources to participate in these opportunities, and at least to give them the opportunity to be able to interact with U.S. students and professors, and of course improve their language skills. So we're very pleased with this, and we hope that it will be a successful program.
Thank you very much, Araceli.
Okay, and this is contact information for some of the people you need to be in touch with. We, of course, are at the U.S. Embassy. We are part of the public affairs section. We have a minister counselor. We have a recently arrived counselor for educational and cultural affairs. And then we have the COMEXUS, the Fulbright Commission, that you must visit, especially those that are considering graduate studies. My colleagues from Education USA who will be with you on Wednesday. And then we have our Office of English Language Programs that also strongly supports the training of English teachers. They do not address student by itself unless through their Access program, but mostly their commitment is to train Mexican professors in English teachers.
Thank you very much, Araceli.
Okay. Thank you.
For sharing this important information. Well, I have a couple of questions. We have no much time for that, but I will try to answer very fast. For Mr. Sved, this is a question from Doris Velasquez from the University of Paraguay. She said, it is possible to get research publication on their experience on internationalization at home?
I'm not sure I understand the question. It's possible to get research experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just want to maybe take advantage of this question just to say that so Lakehead University in Canada, we have consortiums, research consortiums. We have at Lakehead University with 5 Canadian universities, a research consortium called Calareo, CALAREO.ca, and you can go online and look at the partners. But basically, what we're looking at is for research opportunities in Latin America for this Canadian network, and we're working with Colombia, we're working with Ecuador, we're working with Brazil. And obviously, research needs laboratories. Sometimes it's difficult. Depends on what kind of field you have for research. Some you can do online. Some research you can do online. Some research, through Zoom and through discussions. But yeah, it is possible, and I would encourage you to get in contact with me and with Calareo for more information.
Okay, thank you, Pierre. I have another question for Thierry. Thierry, what would be the top 3 factors that a French student takes into consideration to take an international virtual experience? Your micro is not open, Thierry.
Yes, sorry again. Is it okay now? Yes.
Okay.
So I think my students would, the students we have, I repeat, are young ones. And for them, the first motivation would be the language experience. Because as it was said many times, this is something they have to work on. But they are open to any destination as long as they can improve and learn from other cultures. So language first, then the professional experience, which is valued, highly valued on a CV at their age. So this is something that they are keen on developing, their employability skills. The job market in France can be a tough one for young students. So this is, of course, an asset for them to be hired in the future. So language first and employability, so the professional experience.
Okay, thank you, Thierry. Well, we have not more time for questions. In behalf of the authorities of the University of Guanajuato, I really appreciate the extraordinary job of panelists to do every day to support international student exchange, which is highly recognized by all international community. So it's very important to mention that all mobility, generally, there are many offers which are declined by the students, where it's important that the students see all the advantages to improve their academic and professional abilities with an international exchange. Well, thank you very much for participation. All the information shared by you is very interesting for us. So thank you very much again, and see you soon.
Thank you very much. Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.